The restaurant was packed, the kind of busy that makes plates clatter louder and conversations blend into a single buzzing cloud. And right in the middle of that chaos stood Jake Turner, a single dad doing everything he could to hold his life together. He was tired, stressed, and juggling too many things at once. But none of that compared to what was about to happen next. Because in just a few seconds, Jake was about to make the biggest mistake of his life. One that would send a $300 glass of wine cascading down the white silk blouse of one of the most powerful CEOs in the country. Everyone froze. The servers stopped walking. Even the jazz band missed a beat. And as the deep red wine spread across the billionaire's clothes, Jake felt his heart drop to the floor. He thought he was finished. Fired. Ruined. But nobody, not even Jake, was ready for the words she would say next. Before we continue with this unbelievable story of kindness and second chances, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. Your support helps the channel grow and lets us keep bringing powerful stories your way. This is your channel name, where every story reminds us that kindness can change the world. Jake Turner never planned on becoming a waiter at 33. He had studied architecture in college, dreamed of designing affordable homes for families who needed them. But life rarely follows the soft lines of a blueprint. His wife had passed away 2 years earlier after a sudden illness, leaving him alone with their 7-year-old daughter, Lily. The medical bills were crushing, and architecture jobs weren't calling. So, Jake did what he had to do. He took a job waiting tables at a high-end restaurant in downtown Seattle. Jake wasn't ashamed of his job. In fact, he took pride in doing it well. He greeted customers with warmth, remembered regulars' favorite dishes, and worked double shifts whenever Lily needed something for school. But the restaurant's weekend rush? That was something else. No matter how experienced you were, the pressure felt like walking a tightrope with 10 plates balanced in your hands. That particular Friday night was even worse than usual. A storm outside had caused multiple reservations to shift, and the kitchen was backed up by almost 30 minutes. Customers were impatient, servers were stressed, and Jake's manager kept sending him urgent glances every time another table complained. At 7:42 p.m., the automatic doors slid open, and in walked a woman surrounded by a quiet ripple of recognition. Stylish. Graceful. Confident. Her presence pulled the whole room's attention without her even trying. Her name was Helen Davenport, the CEO of Davenport Technologies, a billionaire entrepreneur, and a household name in Seattle's business world. She had founded one of the biggest software companies in the country and was known for her sharp mind, sharper business instincts, and famously high expectations. Jake swallowed hard when the hostess signaled that he would be the one serving her private corner table. He wiped his hands on his apron, steadied his breathing, and told himself he could handle this. After all, she was just another customer. But somewhere deep inside, he knew he couldn't afford a single mistake. Helen ordered a rare vintage Italian wine, one the restaurant only served by request. Jake retrieved the bottle from the temperature-controlled cabinet, holding it with the care of someone carrying a newborn. He rehearsed everything in his mind, the angle of the pour, the placement of the glass, the smooth twist of the wrist. He reached her table. "Good evening, Ms. Davenport." "Your wine," he said softly. She gave him a polite nod but kept her eyes on her tablet. Jake tilted the bottle. And in that instant, a loud crash sounded behind him, a busboy dropping a tray of plates. Jake startled. His hand jerked. And the wine spilled. Not just a drip. Not a splash. The entire first pour splattered across Helen Davenport's white silk blouse, staining it like a spreading bruise. Gasps filled the room. Jake's face drained of color. Terror flooded him. He felt his whole body tremble as he stammered, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I mean, please, I can get towels, His manager rushed over, eyes wide and furious. "Ms. Davenport, I sincerely apologize," she said, shooting Jake a look that said you're done. "We'll take care of everything." And Jake. But before she could finish, Helen held up her hand. She looked down at her blouse, then at Jake. And instead of anger, she smiled. A soft, calm, almost comforting smile. It's all right, Helen said. Accidents happen. Jake blinked. He thought he misheard her. I'm the one who startled him, she said, glancing toward the kitchen. That crash would have made anyone jump. The manager froze, confused. Ma'am, we'll comp your meal and... No need, Helen said gently. But I would like a clean napkin, please. Jake hurried to bring one, hands still shaking. When he returned, Helen looked at him closely, really looked. Not at his uniform. Not at the stains on his apron. But at the exhaustion behind his eyes. You seem like you've had a long day, she said softly. He let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. It's been a long few years. Something shifted in her expression. You have children? She asked. One, he said. My daughter, Lily. Helen nodded with understanding, wiping the wine gently from her blouse. How old? 7. And you're doing this alone? He swallowed. Yes, ma'am. For a moment, she didn't say anything. Her eyes softened, not with pity, but with empathy. A kind that felt honest and unexpectedly warm. What's your dream, Jake? She asked. He blinked. My dream? Yes, she said. The thing you'd pursue if life didn't keep getting in the way. Jake hesitated. Nobody had asked him that in years. I wanted to be an architect, he finally said. Still do, I guess. But, life happened. Helen leaned back. Life always happens. But dreams don't disappear just because the path gets harder. Jake gave a small, tired smile. Maybe. But right now, I just need to keep the lights on. Helen nodded slowly. Then, to Jake's surprise, she closed her tablet, giving him her full attention. Jake, she said, I appreciate people who work hard. People who don't give up, even when things fall apart. You're doing more than most. And that's worth something. He didn't know what to say. A few minutes later, after her meal arrived, Helen waved Jake back over. I'd like my check, please, she said. Jake brought it, quietly bracing himself for a harsh note or a complaint that would get him reprimanded. Instead, Helen signed the receipt, pushed it toward him, and said, Have a good night. And take care of your daughter. She's lucky to have you. Jake nodded, still overwhelmed. Thank you, ma'am. Helen stood to leave, grabbing her blazer to hide the stain. As she walked out, people whispered. The server team exchanged stunned glances. Jake finally exhaled. He felt relief wash over him. Maybe he wasn't fired after all. Then he looked down at the receipt. And froze. Helen hadn't left her usual elite customer tip. She had left a $25,000 tip. Jake's knees almost buckled. He blinked, thinking it had to be a mistake. But beneath her signature were 4 handwritten words. For your dream. HD. His manager rushed over, jaw-dropping. Jake, what did you say to her? I didn't do anything, Jake whispered, tears welling. She was just kind. That night, Jake went home and hugged Lily like he hadn't hugged her in months. He told her, Baby, somebody did something incredible for us today. Lily smiled the way only a child could. Is it because you're a good person, Daddy? Jake's throat tightened. Maybe it's because there are good people in the world. Word of Helen's generosity spread through the restaurant, then through local news, then nationwide. But when reporters asked her why she did it, her answer was simple. Because kindness is never wasted. And because someone once helped me when I needed it most. Jake didn't waste her gift. He enrolled in online architecture classes, working night shifts while studying. It wasn't easy. But every time he felt like quitting, he remembered that stained blouse, that soft smile, and those 4 handwritten words that changed everything. A year later, he finished his certification. 2 years later, he joined a small architecture firm. And 3 years later, he was designing affordable housing communities, his dream finally alive. He mailed Helen a letter once.